Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Cast Strength. My name's Josh, everybody's favorite whiskey ginger. And today I have for you another drained Drams review. That's what we're calling it when instead of taking a bottle that we've just brought brand new and popping it open and giving our first impressions, we want to spend a little bit more time with the whiskey, really get to know it, and as we finish the bottle, give it kind of some final thoughts and a final score. So what I've got for today is three Balcones whiskeys. We've got the Fr.Oak single malt, we've got the Blue Corn bourbon, and then the Mirador single malt. So first up, I have the famous Fr.Oak, which is Balcones single malt, aged, of course, in Fr.Oak barrels. This guy comes in at 59.9%. It's made entirely of Golden Promise barley, which has been pot distilled like everything at Balcones, and it's got a 35-month age statement on it. I think this really stands apart from the regular single malt or some of the other expressions they have that are single malt, and the Fr.Oak barrels really bring a totally different flavor profile in the maturation. It always brings to me like dark, rich stone fruits, like plum and say like black cherries, that kind of thing. But at the same time, it also has this herbal and even like baking spices kind of element to it, like cloves and cinnamon, but also a little bit like maybe thyme or rosemary, that sort of thing. And in addition to the fruits and the spices and the herbal character, there's also a lot of tannins that come through to me with the Fr.Oak that kind of balance out the sweeter, fruitier side with a little bit of that kind of drying wine-like character. So this was a super limited release. It was available only at the distillery. Most people that I've given a little sample of this to tend to really enjoy it and think it's really interesting. I had a few people really not care for it. I think, it's got so much intensity, it's such a high proof, and it's got all that woody complexity from the Fr.Oak cask. It can be a little overwhelming to some, but I really enjoyed it. I'd give it like maybe an 8.5 out of 10, maybe even a 9. It's when I do have to be in the mood for it, and I kind of ration it out because, I've got maybe 3/4 of a bottle left up there. So I do kind of ration it out. I do have to sort of be in the mood for it, but when I am, there's nothing else quite like it. In fact, there's a little bit. Oh, yeah. Forgotten how good that is. Wow. Well done, guys. Well done. All right, the next one we have, this is more of an annual release for them. It comes out, I believe, once a year. This is the Blue Corn bourbon. This guy comes in at 64.6%. I believe this was actually the release from 2 years ago. There was one, I have some bottles from this past year's release as well. But this one, from 2017. So again, this is also 100% Blue Corn mash bill, pot distilled just like everything else. It has a 30-month age statement on it. And of course, being a bourbon, it's aged in brand new oak barrels. This has a big, rich sweetness, but also with this kind of dark, deep molasses, kind of bitter and also slightly tannic, not as much as the Fr.Oak, but it's got a lot of sweetness on the one hand, but it also is balanced out by this dark kind of bitterness and tannin. And I always, with any of the Balcones Blue Corn whiskeys, like Blue Corn bourbon, like True Blue Cast Strength, to a lesser extent Baby Blue, I get also kind of a really earthy note from the Blue Corn, almost sort of a slightly grassy type note. And it's like when you're eating blue corn chips or you have blue corn tortillas, it tastes a little bit darker, a little bit slightly less sweet, a little bit more earthy than a yellow corn or a white corn would be. So the bourbon, of course, unlike the corn whiskey, which is aged in used barrels, the bourbon has much more of a charred campfire marshmallow kind of vibe going on. So if you like take a marshmallow and put it on a stick and you get it black on the outside on a campfire, but the inside's all sticky sweet, that's always what blue corn bourbon kind of reminds me of. It's not going to be for everyone. It's definitely not a traditional bourbon flavor profile. You get, some of those traditional notes like the sweet vanilla and molasses type things going on, but there's not very much fruitiness to me. You're not going to get any cherry or apple or much, in the way of baking spices and that kind of thing. I do really like it, but it's really just not going to be for everyone. It is kind of a sometimes whiskey I have to be in the mood for. And as far as the 100% blue corn products go, I tend to kind of personally prefer the True Blue 100 over everything else. So for that, even though I do really like it, I don't like it as much as some of the other Balcones blue corn products. So I'm going to give it more of like a 8 out of 10. Oh yeah, there's that sweetness, but then also just sort of that corn husk, like you took blue corn and then grilled it in the husk. Smoky, charred campfire, but also kind of grassy, but also kind of sweet at the same time. Yeah, just like a charred marshmallow. Oh, no, we're saving the corks. Okay. Always save your corks. It's very important. You'll be very sad when you buy a new bottle of Balcones, and though I've never had it happen with them, I assume one day I'll pull out the cork and it's going to fail, and I'll have replacements. So always keep your corks, boys and girls. All right, and the last one we have, of course, is the Balcones Mirador single malt. This I picked as my #1 Texas whiskey of the year last year. It was such a surprise to come from them. It's such an unusually light and delicate and just nicely balanced and understated flavor profile in comparison to what one would normally expect from Balcones. So this guy comes in at 54.8%. Again, just like the Fr.Oak, made from Golden Promise barley, done in a pot still. But it's so, like I said, light and delicate, kind of floral and fruity and toasty and buttery. And there's a lot of like kind of honey notes in there too. But then also you can tell, significant oak influence in there also. From what I understand, they make a spirit that's called Rumble. They age that Rumble in casks, and then they put some malt whiskey in as a refill to those Rumble casks. And a lot of that whiskey went into Mirador, kind of bringing some of that, fig fruitiness and stuff like that to the flavor profile here. It's just got such this delicate balance, but retains this complexity. It often surprises people that are familiar with, they think they know what Balcones is and what the kind of house style is for Balcones, and it often comes as a surprise to people who think they know what to expect. I've found that it can be mistaken for a really excellent Highland style Scotch. If you put it in a blind tasting lineup for people and put some scotches in there, this will come out as being a little bit different, but you wouldn't immediately go, oh, that's clearly the Texas whiskey. No, it really holds its own against high quality scotches, in my opinion. From what I understand, this is being released in a new batch again later this year sometime, so that's very exciting. And I guess to give it a rating, obviously I'm going to rate it very highly, since it was my #1 Texas whiskey of the year last year. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 9.5 out of 10. I really think this is one of the finest Texas whiskeys that's out there. As many different Texas whiskeys as I enjoy, this one really I keep coming back to, and it keeps blowing me away. So again, of course, well done, guys. The Mirador is amazing, and I can't wait to taste the one coming out this year. I think there may be just a little tiny bit left in here as well. That's pretty cleaned out. Oh yeah, just a tiny drop. It's so malty. That's just delicious. What Scotch would I compare this to? Like maybe, actually, Deanston, maybe a Glenmorangie. Probably a Glenmorangie. So it's got that kind of floral, toasty, but also fruity with a lot of honey notes in there. Yeah, I'd say it's close to Glenmorangie in style. Just really, really good. Right, so that's it, guys. Drams Reviews Balcones edition. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/thecaststrength. I've got an Instagram in which we post all kinds of fun whiskey things. Vito also has a Instagram, so look him up on there. And yeah, thanks for checking it out. Like, comment, and subscribe below, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.